Welcome to Bonuscast, the Brandon Sanderson Bonuscast. This is a bonus cast. Shut up. We're a bunch of mega fans giving you the news, discussion, and of course a whole lot of things about Brandon's works and the Cosmere. I'm Eric.
Bonus opinions.
Bonus opinions. I'm Eric, and joining me is Ian.
Hello, I am WearyWriter. And Eric did not warn us that this was he was going to say that and not Shardcast.
No.
And it threw me for a loop.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, people who watched the thing on the new Rhythm of War chapter, there were comments that was like, I usually say the intro with Eric. What do I do? And I like that because Grace was like 10 out of 10 excited to do that intro. I was like, okay, we got to lower this volume level because people get upset when I did that. So also joining me is Evgeni.
Hi, I am Argent, and I don't have anything interesting on my desk today.
Cool.
Except
for
this pen.
Cool. Also joining us. Yes. Do you want to do the thing?
I was planning on showing off cards from Stormlight Call to Adventure, but I did not plan for that. So.
Yeah, and also you're super pixely, so that doesn't work really.
Yeah,
that's okay. We'll do it sometime. We got tons of time.
Yeah.
Also joining us is Joshua, and you seem like you're in a closet.
It's true. I am in a closet, but do not be alarmed. It's probably the size of a dorm room. It's not a Harry Potter situation, so we're good.
I was like,
send help.
It's like, are you recording in a closet? Yeah, but it's a big closet. It's like, oh, okay then.
Yeah. It's bigger than some bedrooms that I've lived in.
Okay.
It's not a closet, alarming. It's a recording studio.
We moved here in May, and this closet was a selling point. So
look, if it is a giant closet, I'm down. That's true. Now you just need to put up acoustic foam.
Yeah, well, there's clothes. There's a whole
array. Clothes are really good for that. That is true.
See? That's what I figured.
Yeah, clothes is really, really good. Well, a lot of voice actors, they do record in closets for exactly that reason. So as much as I'm making fun because it's funny, it's totally true because clothes, absorb the sound really well. I'm Chaos, and today we're doing a news episode because there's new stuff, and what we're going to talk about is we have some urgent news that we know the title of the novella that's happening before Rhythm of War. And the title is Dawnshard. Yeah.
Yep.
Ta-da! So, Brandon...
He said we would be excited about the title.
That's why we're recording this. I am excited. Can confirm.
And it's a very exciting title.
That is a very exciting title.
Indeed.
So we're gonna do a little bit of recap of Dawnshard, and by that we talk about the two things we know about Dawnshards.
Excuse me, I think there are three things.
Whoa! Back off. So this novella is going to have Rissyn. It was always going to be the Rissyn novella, and Brandon Lung called it Wandersail. But he didn't really... He's been talking on the recent streams how he didn't really like the name Wandersail because it didn't really have anything to do with Hoyd's story in Way of Kings.
Though it was named for her ship.
Right.
Which was a reference to Hoyd's story. But...
Right. And Brandon's just like, well, that's just not what the story's about. Mm-hmm. And so I should name it what the story's about. And apparently it's about Dawnshards. So I was like, all right.
One Dawnshard.
Sorry. Dawnshard singular. Sorry. Only one Edge Dancer in Edge Dancer. One thing. So, and one thing we also knew was that it was going to Aimia.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And if we show on the screen here, I'll show the cover here.
So we can also talk about the 5 times Aimia was mentioned.
Oh, yeah, we'll do that too.
Doubling the content.
Whoa, doubling the content of this episode. I imagine this will be a shorter one because this is coming out a week before the other one. But or the week after. Whatever. But I think people think that the cover represents a Larkin here.
Yeah.
Was that confirmed? I think it was.
I don't think it's been confirmed by Dragonsteel, but
Okay.
that looks like a Larkin.
Yeah.
So.
He might have said it on the live stream that it's a Larkin.
I don't remember.
Maybe Isaac.
I don't remember a Larkin mention, but like it what else is it gonna be?
Yeah.
I mean, Risen has a Larkin, and we know
What
the
is?
Larkins come from Aimia. Ooh, we could talk about the scouring of Aimia. All two things we know about that. Oh boy. Maybe we'll actually learn something about it. And my joke with the novellas is that all the novellas are going to be about Aimia. Because really, Edge Dancer, we got the Sleepless, which was a big reveal, right? Like, I never thought we would get that in Edge Dancer. So now we're doing more Aimia. I don't know how the other novella Horneater is going to be related to Aimia, but like there could be like a Sleepless there or something at the Horneater peaks.
Sure.
Brandon did say
Axes the Collector shows up because he's studying Spren. Horneaters have a special connection to Spren.
Nailed
obviously.
it. Perfect.
Sure, why not?
I mean, we haven't seen Axes in a really long time. Presumably, we will see him again.
I think the last time we saw him was on the Taina, on the
Reshi Isles.
on the
Yeah.
isle.
Yeah.
With
Where
Risen.
yeah, where she got her Larkin.
Yeah.
Like he was mentioned in Oathbringer during one of Yasna's Spanweed conversations with the other Aristotelians.
Mm-hmm. Haven't had a scene. So easy, nailed it.
I was reading it last night. Risen's interlude is it after part 1, I think, in Wave Kings or whatever. No, wherever it is.
I mean, it has
it's
to be
paired
after
with
part one.
it's Axes. Axes. Axes.
Yeah, they're right next to each other.
The interludes
Axes
are
and
after
Risen's
part
interlude are
1.
right next to each other, and then Axes and Risen show up in the same interlude. So I've got like this conspiracy theory going on. Maybe
What
their
if-
stories are related.
God, what if Axes is gonna be at Aimia in Dawnshard?
You need
Easy.
to go
Maybe
check in back
maybe.
home and see how things are going.
I mean,
I like this.
if you're going to a new place, you often try to get a guide familiar with the area.
And Risen knows Axes.
Hey, you're that
Ooh.
one creepy guy that I met that one time.
Yeah.
I trust you.
and you would probably want to get that one instead of like some weird cook lady who poisons your food and leads you to your demise.
Hey, look, that person was a great character. So we're talking about the Kaza interlude there, where Kaza, the Soulcaster, they tried to go to Akana, and which is in Aimia. It's an Oathgate city, and the Sleepless kills everyone there, and Kaza wonders why, and just says, "Look, if I told you, there would be people who could take these secrets there, and that could destroy the world. So no, I'm not going to do that. Bye." So that's a thing. So there's some secrets in Aimia that could destroy the world. Fun. Oh, and I alluded to this, but Brandon said that after Rhythm of War, but before Stormlight 5, there'll be a rock novella that is going to be called Horneater. And before we explicitly knew that the one before Rhythm of War was going to be Risen, he kind of he brought up rock a few times. So I just wanted to make that clear to listeners. Cool. Well, where should we start? Should we start with Dawnshards? Well,
Let's talk about Aimia first.
well, wait. Maybe before that, Brandon talked on the live stream about another character that might be in this novella.
Right. So there is a maybe on a Lopen secondary POV. That is definitely a maybe. Brandon says he needs to figure out how the viewpoints are going to work out. So we don't know whether Risen is going to be joined by anyone else. So if Lopen is in fact the additional character who gets a POV, we don't know whether he's going to be with her going to Aimia or whether there's like a parallel story going on.
I would think so for a novella. You know what I mean?
Perhaps. Yeah.
It's hard for me to imagine a
It's also-
novella with like two unrelated storylines.
Oh, right. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to be related.
I mean, maybe there are like thematic parallels. Maybe they meet up at some point. Like, all I'm saying is,
Sure.
I don't know that she's going to get on her ship and there will be a Lope in there.
Look, if there's no faster way for me to hate the story than if we get Lopin stuff and he's not in Aimia, and then there's interesting Aimia stuff. Like, I like barely tolerate Lopin as it is. Like, he can be sometimes funny, but like it's also somewhat annoying sometimes. So he better be on the trip to Aimia, or else I will not be happy of just like, hey, Lopin's doing crazy things back in Europe Heroes. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, I think they have to be together, otherwise it does. Like it is a novella. Like, it's not going to be. They need to be together. Like.
I mean, and it makes sense because now that
confirmed, it's
Phelan is that's like with our group of characters and stuff, Phelana, and so it makes sense that like Windrunners would like guard someone important. I don't know why Risen. Well, I mean, if they're going to Aimia, like that would have usages overall, right?
Oh, you know what might be happening? So I wonder if Dalinar decides to send an expedition to Aimia to secure the Oathgate.
That's
like
totally
he has
reasonable.
done in the past.
Yeah.
And the same way he's been sending Windrunners to Alethkar and to Thelena to secure the gates. Now he sends a budget Windrunner. Well, I guess
budget.
Well, he's thrown some ideals.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I hate on him, he actually has a Spren and has sworn the first or
sorry if you
idea,
listeners you like Lopin. I mean, Lopin is fine. Like, it's a standard Brandon comic relief thing that if you're into that, into the character and you find him funny, it's great. If not, like, it's annoying, right? Like, some people are annoyed with Shallan. I don't know.
Yeah, I like Lopin more than Wayne.
Oh, yeah, well, that's true. I would agree. I would agree with that.
Don't get me wrong. I like both of them. It's just sometimes they're a bit much.
They're a bit much, right. So I think that's totally reasonable for like Dalinar to send people to secure an Oathgate. Like that makes a lot of sense. You don't want that to fall in the hands of the enemy, right? So you would immediately try and go there. And Aimia, at least at the end of Oathbringer, like it doesn't seem like the Fused are going there. There's no mention of that. So it could be a source of allies, maybe, is what Dalinar's thinking. I don't know.
or at least a tactical, hey, we are now on the westernmost point of Roshar. Like, we can't get ambushed from further west, or we can get surrounded or anything like that.
Yeah, they controlled the westernmost and the easternmost Oathgates. Because Narak is the easternmost.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, you're totally right. I agree.
Having quick access to the west coast would certainly help. Like, I don't know, to be able to control the seas that are there. If you're trying to go do something with Shinovar, then you have a place to strike.
And like, even attacking
Odium's
Eyrie.
Very strategic.
Odium's forces hold the top left of the map.
Yep. Eyrie and stuff like that. Yep.
Getting an additional access point there is nice. Yeah,
for sure. So I think that's actually a very sensible reason for a Windrunner to show up, and we have no idea when this novella is going to happen in like the time jump, right? Because we have a big time jump between Oathbringer and Rhythm of War, if you recall, right? So we have a year. Yeah. So it's probably not going to be like right after Oathbringer, like maybe in the middle. I don't know.
We do know that it's going to be in the time jump, however.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
Because Rhythm of War also has a recent interlude.
Yes. Oh, yes. What did Brandon say about that on the live stream?
And Brandon says that somehow the interlude doesn't spoil the novella, although people who have read the novella will appreciate the interlude more, presumably because of like vague references.
He said it was a strange interlude? Like, he said it was a different sort of Risen interlude in a sense, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Which, it taking place during the break, it does set it apart from Edge Dancer, which overlaps with the end of Words of Radiance, technically.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
A little bit.
Yep. Totally.
When he said that it was a strange interlude, I wondered if I was just trying to like brainstorm like what could that possibly mean? I wondered if it was a Risen flashback, which would give him a way to not spoil. But I don't know.
Huh.
Wild thought.
Oh, what if the novella shows us Risen like in Aimia doing Risen things, doing Dawnshardy things, and then the interlude flashes back to an earlier segment in her journey where, let's say, she met some people that are referenced in the novella, and they, or maybe they're not, or whatever, but like, with the knowledge of the novella, these people or these places that she's visited or met before, like in the flashback, are now doubly interesting. But without the novella, it's just some interesting people and places that she's met.
Could be.
It's weird though, because I really like the Risen interlude in Oathbringer because it was very relevant. So this makes it sound like it may not be. Like, I just don't know what a strange interlude means for Rhythm of War, right? Like, what does that mean?
I do like the flashback idea. The idea I had was some kind of a memoir or a retelling of her journey to Aimia.
And that's a good point, because this novella is, Brandon said he's going to be writing it the Monday after we record, so the Monday prior to this coming out. And he's expecting it to be done mid-October. That's a really narrow time between the release of the novella and Rhythm of War. Most people are probably not going to have read this novella, right?
Yeah.
Like
only Kickstarter people.
Yeah. So
that too. There's no audiobook at release. There's no audiobook, which for a lot of people that's going to be kind of a
right. So I just wonder what the Risen interlude and how the events of this will like tie in without,
It's probably going to be closer to like the first Risen interludes where she's just off somewhere doing her own thing.
Or she's just doing cool things with Dawnshards.
Sure.
Yeah.
She world hops away. Like, she goes to Nulthus and has to deal with Nulthian customs.
Sure, and that's the interlude.
Yeah.
It's after she gets a Dawnshard, but she's going through Nulthian customs, and they're like, "Hey, do you remember this Vivenna person? Can you go find them?" I was like, "Sure, I'll head on back." That's what it is, and so yeah, easy. That won't be jarring at all.
Definitely stop her over a Dawnshard.
I mean, you
that's
don't know.
Something you got to declare.
Yeah, definitely.
But they don't. But do Nulthian customs even know what a Dawnshard is?
I'm guessing not cultivation. Endowment does.
Why don't we talk about
you put that thing on the investiture X-ray thing going through?
Yes. They have the sand detectors, in the Nulthian customs. It's like, whoa, that's a lot of investiture. The white sand, right? Detects investiture and stuff.
Oh yeah. Like Hoyd in the had a jar in Kolinar.
Yeah. Yeah, you just get a bunch of that, and then that's your X-ray. It's like, whoa, buddy. So speaking of that, why don't we talk about what Dawnshards are with what little we know?
Because we don't know. That's why we're not talking about
my
them.
favorite part about the reveal of this title is that so many people Googled Dawnshard that it broke the copper mind for a bit on the Dawnshard article. By the way, our Dawnshard article is actually really good for what we know. And it will be horrendously out of date when this comes out. So yay!
Yeah. And there was a segment of, before we had the live stream, people were like, oh, like it's a fake out title. We're not actually going to learn anything about Dawnshards. And then Brandon's like, you will learn about Dawnshards.
I don't think Brandon does troll titles. Like that is not a thing that he has done. Like if he says the title's this, it will I don't know if we'll like get a Dawnshard.
Agreed.
But we will learn a non-zero amount about Dawnshards. That I am confident about.
Yes.
Right? Because it will, like, or at least, like, we will, like, see one maybe broken or something and, like, learn, like, some of the effects, like, in Aimia or like, something like that. Like, it might not be, like, Risen gets one. But.
Yeah. Or, like, somebody's going to tell us what they're all about. Although I would expect some more, like, tangible remnants of that. Like, I don't want Risen to go to Aimia and just, like, find a journal.
I don't know. Let's talk about what Dawnshards are. So one of our first instances was in Yasna's notes in the poem of Ista, where it says, taking the Dawnshard known to bind any creature, voidish or mortal. Voidish not capitalized, interesting. He crawled up the steps crafted for heralds, 10 strides tall apiece, toward the grand temple above. And Yasna is saying, I have no modern explanation for what these Dawnshards are. They seem ignored by scholars, though talk of them was obviously prevalent among those recording the early mythologies. So that's one reference.
I think it's one of those things where, like, everyone knew what the Dawnshards were, so nobody explained what they were.
Right. It's like in writing now, if, like, we had the apocalypse and people are like, what the hell's a computer? What's a phone? It's like, we all know what phones are, right? Like, we don't need to explain, oh, yes, a computer is blah, 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 blah. Like, no one says that, right?
Or, like, ancient Egypt had a trading partner that is referenced.
Oh, right,
all the time. Like, we have no idea where it was because no one ever thought to, like, write that information
it was so
down
obvious.
Because everyone knew where it was.
That's really funny. Second instance is when Honor at the end of Way of Kings is like, yeah, man, without the Dawnshards, I don't know how you're going to fight Odium. It's like they're inaccessible in some ways. Like, Honor couldn't know of them, which is interesting because we know, like, Honor, like, died a little bit after the Recreance. We don't know exactly when, but he was dying during the Recreance. That kind of caused
He was going insane.
He was going insane. Like, the Stormfather references that he was dying at that time with those last nights.
Let me do this paragraph because I think there are, like, maybe there is some phrasing around.
Let's do it.
What Honor says
Let's
that's
do
maybe
it.
relevant here. So I wish I could do more. You might be able to get him Odium to choose a champion. He's bound by some rules. All of us are. Obviously talking about the shards.
Yep.
A champion could work well for you, but it is not certain. And without the Dawnshards, well, I have done what I can. It's a terrible, terrible thing to leave you alone.
I love that chapter. It's such a good chapter.
So it is possible that he's talking about. So it is possible that the Dawnshards could have helped in the fight against Odium in some way, or it is also possible that they could have aided the champion that got elected.
Oh, interesting.
In the fight against Odium.
Sure, right. Because, like, he's all talking about, like, the champion.
So
that's
we
obviously
don't, we don't know if he switches thoughts halfway there.
So the last mention we have of them is in Oathbringer Chapter 113, where the Stormfather is talking. But in the days leading to the Recreance, Honor was dying. When that generation of knights learned the truth, Honor did not support them. He raved, speaking of the Dawnshards, ancient weapons used to destroy the Tranquiline halls. Honor promised that Surge Binders would do the same to Roshar.
Ooh. That's interesting for several reasons. In that, A, the Dawnshards were on Ashen at some point, so guess that's the Dawn part of that.
Yeah, most things with Dawn, because, like, Dawn Singers were not Ashenite, like, so Dawn is really like the dawn of time type of thing.
Yeah. But interesting that Honor, at least the time of his death, he's promising that Surge Binders would destroy Roshar. He's not promising that the Dawnshards would, right? In a sense, which is interesting.
Which I think implies that the Dawnshards are related to Surge Binding in some way.
Like maybe you need to be a Surge Binder to make use of a Dawnshard.
Will they like use the surges in like an extreme way or something?
Yeah, maybe they like supercharge the surges, or maybe they are weapons that can only be unlocked with surges.
Or they might be mega fabrials, like
Wouldn't the title of the novella be so much better if it was just Mega Fabrial? That'd be great.
I believe I've seen the theory that like the Dawnshards were used in the creation of Surge Binding fabrials like Soulcasters or the Oath Gates.
Yeah.
Because they don't seem to operate on the same principles as modern fabrials.
Right.
Where you capture a spread and all of that fun stuff.
Yeah, it's different in some way. I think another common theory is that that a Dawnshard was used in breaking the Shattered Plains, like a very powerful object. Because we know the Fuse didn't. Yep. The listener songs say our gods did not shatter these lands. So there's not a lot of candidates. Like a Dawnshard's good, unless it was like a big conflict with like Honor and Odium. Like maybe, I don't know, but.
So another thing, I don't know. When we did the History of Roshar podcast, we talked about the Dawnshard. We wondered if the Dawnshards were used to create the Dawn cities in some way. There's like a lot of, I don't know, stuff about, it was tied to the Shattered Plains. There's stuff about them like causing like rhythms and sounds and vibrations and playing into the whole Dawn naming scheme.
Yep.
I don't know. It was a theory.
Yeah, I think that is a reasonable thing to think.
Ian, you mentioned they're using like creating fabrials, right?
Yeah,
we didn't talk about where that came from. Because we didn't say where that came from, did we? Because that was Kaza's interlude, where she was going to Akina because she was trying to like find help with her soulcaster, right? Because that's where they said like soulcasters are made.
Yes.
Yeah, that is true.
Here.
Yeah, they were made at Akina. Yep.
And I think that is a big like cornerstone of a theory Jeebus had around the time of Oathbringer.
Oh yeah.
Which was along these lines, right? That Dawnshards are, or at least a Dawnshard is in Aimia and is being used to manufacture, or at least was being used to manufacture soulcasters.
Speaking of, Ben actually sent me a thing that he wanted to say because he wasn't going to be able to be on this episode. So I'm gonna go read that. What's up? It's ya boy Jeebus here. I'm sure these guys will cover most of the rest of the facts, but here's the rundown of why I'm pumped. Aimia is said to contain a secret that will destroy worlds. Honor said the Dawnshards were used to destroy Ashen, ergo if a Dawnshard was hidden on Aimia, it would be a secret that could destroy worlds. Sure. If they weren't used in the scouring of Aimia, we do got to talk about that, I'd be surprised. And finally, I think there were 10 in the past, 9 got turned into the Unmade, and the final one, potentially the one relating to Adhesion, which would potentially was used to create ancient soulcasters like Fabrials and Oathgates, is the one left in Aimia. If I'm wrong, blame Eric because he's the one who read this. So if I'm right, suck it, fools. Thanks, Ben. You're welcome. I read the whole thing.
That was a treat. I think his thought with the Adhesion was connection. The thing about binding.
The spiritual connection
used
stuff.
to binding, bind voice.
Yeah, spiritual adhesion. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what Dalnar's power is, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about the Unmade.
Yeah, David wanted me to say
there.
on the show that he strongly disagrees with that idea, that the Dawnshards came into the Unmade.
And I'm actually on the episode, so I can voice my fond belief in this theory. I really want them to be the Unmade. I like the theory.
Guys, what if...
Why?
What if they What if they go to Aimia? Here's a hot take that makes no sense. All right, are you ready? They go to Aimia, and you know who they meet?
Ba'edo Mishram.
Ba'edo Mishram.
I was gonna make this joke.
Oh,
I'm
great.
glad you're the one to make it.
Fantastic. Yes. So I think that's plausible, you know? I mean, it's really not at all, but like if the Unmade are related to Dawnshards, then we might learn something about that. Maybe.
It's not unreasonable.
But yeah, what's going on with the Scouring of Aimia? What do we know about the Scouring of Aimia?
Everything there died.
Like it was about like murdering a bunch of great shells, because Dalnar remembers the Scouring, right? And
Well, I think there was a war over these great shells,
Mhm.
because it's like there's a comment about the chasm fiends where it's like we thought the Lancerin of Aimia were the last great shells to create gem hearts of this size.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
And so,
Yep.
like, there was a conflict over control over the Lancerin, which ultimately resulted in all of the Lancerin dying. So,
And Hesse thinks that maybe Diagonarthus had something to do with the Scouring.
Unmade, connected to
There we go.
Aimia.
Easy. We will meet Diagonarthus and Ba'edo Mishram. Easy.
Maybe
That's like
an
one of her-
Unmade.
That's one of her final
Diagonarthus is
epigraphs,
the-
though, where she's
Yeah.
like, I have no idea what I'm talking about. This is my wild speculation.
Look.
Yeah. Diagonarthus is the random Unmade we don't know about. Like, if Diagonarthus shows up in Dawnshard, I'm going to be very happy.
I totally will. I don't think Ba'edo Mishram's actually going to be there, but like Diagonarthus, we know nothing about. We didn't know anything about the Sleepless before Edge Dancer, other than like the mysterious people who wrote the backs of the books, right? And
I mean, we didn't even know they were called the Sleepless.
right, yeah. We should probably talk
We
about
didn't know
Aimians.
they were made of hordlings
Bugs.
and were terrifying.
Yeah, we didn't know a lot of those things. I'm still surprised Brandon did that in so early in the series.
I'm
But
surprised we're getting Dawnshards. at
yeah,
this point.
seriously. Like, geez.
I thought that was after book 5 stuff.
Oh yeah, me too.
Maybe book 5.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Absolutely.
So
We didn't mention, like, timeline-wise, the Scouring was in the recent past, but not within the lifetime of the
Recent-ish.
characters. But
yeah.
within the last couple hundred years, somewhere within that time frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, my impression is a few generations, like 2, 3, maybe 4 generations. That type of timeline.
yeah. So that is very interesting. And I definitely want to know more about the Scouring. Like, I've always wanted to know more about the Scouring of Aimia.
We've got to find out more, right? Wouldn't you think, in this novella? Like,
We
for they
have
to go there and, like, even if it's just, I don't know, a clue. Like, you can't be there and not, like, have some kind of, like, indication of why it is the way it is and what happened there.
Perhaps.
I think it would be unsatisfying if we didn't get
Yeah.
anything.
Well, I mean, there's a Larkin presumably on the cover, so I would like to know. And look, if we get to be in Aimia and not instantly die, that'd be great. I'm into that. So we can't know less than we already know, right?
Mhm.
It can't know less. Oh boy.
So here's a wild theory that's, I mean, it's been bouncing around in my mind. It's interesting to me that Honor seems to think that the Dawnshards are at least inaccessible. They're either gone or inaccessible. Sometime shortly
Or
after the
working for
raid.
the enemy.
Yeah, well, or
working
that.
for the enemy. I mean, that would make them
Um,
inaccessible.
Inaccessible. So Honor thought that they were not accessible in some way. Sometime shortly after the Recreants. The Scouring happened way after that.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
So I guess I'm just wondering what, if there's a Dawnshard in Aimia, why did Honor not know about it?
Well, it might have.
it is
Go ahead.
it is possible that at the time of the Recreants, they were all unavailable for whatever reason. And then over the course of time, one of them got awakened, repaired, powered up, rediscovered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we did a episode about Aimia and the Dawnshards a while ago.
Yes, it'll be in the description and be one of the things on the end plate. Before video. It has to be at the end. Argent. It can't be in the middle.
Yeah.
It will not be right now.
There we tossed out the idea that the Aimians were in on the scouring.
Oh,
And,
right. Yeah.
And that was like to protect the Dawnshard that was located there.
Yeah. I remember that now.
So that was that's what I was kind of wondering is I'm wondering if the Aimians hid one of the Dawnshards for some reason, and they were able to successfully hide it and make Honor think that it was gone somehow, and then somebody maybe got a little bit too close to stumbling upon the fact that it was there sometime in the not too distant past. And so that's when the scouring happened, is the Aimian said, we got to, like, they're getting too close to figuring out that this is here. We got to, like, clear this place out to keep the secret.
It's just so weird, like, because we have two races of weird people, the Sia Aimians and the Sleepless, on Aimia, and Aimia was one of the Silver Kingdoms! What?
Yeah.
But I mean, so was Eerie, and there are also aliens there.
Okay, that's a good point.
They're human aliens.
They're still human.
True.
They're no more alien than like the rest of the humans on Roshar.
They're relatively alien.
It doesn't seem clear that either the Sia or the Sleepless are native to Roshar.
True.
And it's just learning anything about that I will love, because like, what is going on there? I have no idea. When did they come there? By the way,
did they come?
So Axes was one of the Sia. They have a thing called the Curse of Kind. Deep
Mentioned
lore.
Exactly once. No
Said to be bad
context, no details.
And Brandon like was asked about it on a stream, and he was surprised someone remembered it, and I was like, wow, I totally forgot about that.
But like the Curse of Kind like is something.
It is something. Yeah, no, it totally is. Yeah, it totally is.
And his shadow goes the wrong way, like they do in the cognitive realm.
Yeah. And we don't know whether these two are related. Isn't there, so you know in the prologue of Words of Radiance, when Yasna's shadow was acting out for the first time, didn't she say something about like bad luck or something to that effect? Like it's a bad omen for her shadow to do that. Wasn't there something like that?
Let's find out.
I'm
research
looking it up
break.
Elevator music.
Can we keep the segment but like speed it up to 10x?
I mean, Feather could. She's editing this, so.
Can we keep the segment but like speed it up to 10x? I mean, Feather could. She's editing this, so.
Yeah.
It might happen now that you said that.
Superstitious folktales she'd read said that misbehaving shadows meant that you were cursed. She usually dismissed such things as nonsense, but some superstitions were rooted in fact. Her other experiences proved that. She would need to investigate further.
Cursed by kind.
I definitely think it's their memories of the Curse of Kind that have persisted.
Well, we know nothing about the Curse of Kind.
There's an actual some kind of curse thing associated with that, and it turned into myths that Yasna has since written.
Which is possible, yeah. So my question then becomes is, do we think this is an attribute of all Sia Aimians, or is this something more unique?
I don't
To
think
say
we know
Axis.
enough.
We know
At
so
this point.
little.
I would
Wow,
think that
you
it
think?
is a more general concept, because if it's just like this is a thing that the Sia Aimians experience, is just like it's part of their nature. Like, why would you give a name to it?
So it does
Yeah.
seem special.
Well,
Maybe
I mean,
other-
why would you
I'm
have
just
like
spitballing, but
why would you have the rank of truthless in ancient society?
I
because
love
one
when
all
we
share the truth
bring
first.
up other things we don't know about to talk about other things we don't know about. That's
I-
my favorite. It's like, well, about the curse of kind, what if we talk about the history of truthless? We know just about as much.
that's where we're at right now.
Well, because not everyone in Shin society is truthless, so like you
Yeah.
have to have a name to set it
Right.
apart.
Yeah. I agree.
And so we don't know whether everyone who's a Sia Aimian has this kind of curse.
Oh, I remember the context in the live stream, Brandon. It was someone asking about who would you not want to be around, and like someone mentioned Axes, and Brandon's like, "Oh yeah, you wouldn't want to be around Axes because he has the curse of kind." And Brandon just rattled that off instantly. And we're like, "The curse of kind? What?" Because like I think almost everyone forgot because it's mentioned in Way of Kings in his interlude once ever.
Mhm.
We don't know anything about it.
Yeah, no, I wonder if it's somehow related to like, because the Sia are maybe ancestors of the Natan people.
Right, because they're blue.
Because they're blue. Yeah.
I mean,
In the same way, like partial ancestors, yes.
yeah, because
Yes.
yeah, because we know that they
mhm.
created hybrid offspring. So I think it's
Yes.
not confirmed, but
And I guess what I'm trying to grasp at is not even straw, because we don't have straws in this, but like there's weird Shadesmar cognitive realm stuff going on with Axes, at least.
yes.
With the opposite shadows, and then the whole tie-in with Yasna and superstitions and bad luck, where we also see the shadows do the same thing, and we also have among the Horn Eaters, we have people who are able to also interact a little bit more with the cognitive realm,
Mm-hmm.
such as Rock, who's able to see Spren,
Yes.
and we now know his daughter Cord. And so I wonder if there's this like essentially condition that is present on Roshar in different people that maybe manifests in different ways, but in all instances kind of gives you a closer connection to Shadesmar.
Kind
I
of.
think Rock and like Cord, their connection has more to do with like the Horn Eaters have Singer blood. Singers are more connected to the cognitive realm, and also they live next to a perpendicularity.
Sure, but all of these could be symptoms of the same bigger, more overarching thing. So like maybe all of the singers have some of that
Mhm.
only some of the Sia Aimians do. Now obviously singer shadows don't point the wrong way as far as we know. But like we could be looking at different appendages of the same cognitive monster concept theory idea.
I have a really hot take that I think is dumb and wrong.
Perfect.
Now you have
Excellent.
to say it.
It
I know.
will fit right in.
Well, because I know basically, the hot take is that Yasna has the curse of kind. Whoa. I don't think this is true, but
The lunacy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
okay, maybe I'm liking this a little more.
Now we're talking.
But like Yasna wouldn't know about this. But I was just reading the Sia Aimian page, right? And it was saying how like, oh well, the shadows going in the opposite way is a connection to the cognitive realm, right?
Mhm.
But like, if the stories about the shadows going the wrong way is coming from the Sia and the Curse of Kind, like, there could be something there. Maybe. But it's probably just her becoming an Else Caller. But with the lunacy, that's an interesting point.
I like this.
I also had a hot take I wanted to share.
Oh, let's do this. We're like, we don't need rails today.
Yeah.
Well, so before we do the next hot take, just want to address this one real quick.
Okay, sure.
The shadow is probably just the cognitive, because we've also seen when Kaladin appears, like when he's flying in the chasms, in I think Words of Radiance.
Yeah, when he's experimenting with
also
powers.
get the same thing. Yeah. We like he kind of peeks into Shadesmar a little bit, and he I think also notes that the shadows go the wrong way. So this is probably just an artifact of like Yasna being closer to Shadesmar at that moment.
Yeah. I do agree.
So I think I know where the Sia Aimians are actually from.
Oh, dang. All right, let's go. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's hit all gas, no brakes. Let's go. We don't need rails where we're going.
And this is 100% not actually the case.
Is it going to be Vax?
No. So we have strong indications, or there's a strong theory going around that like the Sia Aimians like interbred with humans, which resulted in the Natan.
Yep. Okay.
The Natan have a cultural story about why they are blue, which is that Queen Saw had relations with the moon Nomon.
The Sia are from the moon?
Oh, they're from the moon.
The Sia are from the moon.
Sure. They're both blue. It makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
I mean,
just wait till the green ones and the red ones start showing up. Book 6.
So like we have third light, we will have third Aimians. Easy. And they'll be different colors.
Sure, yeah.
Maybe the Sleepless in their natural form is one of the colors of the... This is so stupid.
so we have the Sia, and we have the D Sia.
Yep.
And so we're just waiting for the Tri-Sion aliens.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what those are? I got it. They're Dawnshards. Easy.
Sure.
Easy. Nailed it. Oh my god. This is what happens when, like, we didn't do any prep for this episode. We didn't need prep. We didn't need prep for what we were doing. We're just like talking about
Dawnshard.
Dawnshard.
To be done.
We don't know anything, but it's just like, look, we're just doing some hot takes, you know, just what you want for this show, right? On some stuff we know nothing about, and I assume we will learn quite a bit more. Like going to Aimia and not instantly dying.
Big improvement.
It's my fave.
I think there's a comment. Oh, go ahead.
I wonder how the Sleepless are going to be involved. Because, like, if they're not on board with this, like, they're going to be the antagonist.
I think there's a common theory that somehow Rissen's Larkin will give her access or something. Like, because that's connected with Aimia in some way. So I think we will see a Sleepless for sure.
What do we know about Larkin and Aimia?
Oh, God.
They were thought to have gone extinct.
Brilliant.
During the scouring.
They eat investiture.
Yeah.
So they're thought to be native to Aimia.
Yes. They're definitely like...
Okay. So
they're known to be native to Aimia.
Okay, cool. So that makes sense, right? So somebody shows up with a dinosaur. No, that's not a good metaphor.
Lopen just enters and he's on a dinosaur. And they're just like, how'd you get that? You don't want to know. It's just like, no, I actually do want to know, Lopen.
I'd really like to see some fan art of Lopen on a dinosaur.
Or Lopen on a chasm fiend. Easy.
Or here you go, chasm fiend.
Nice.
Or some Lancern.
But yeah, no, it makes sense that if Risen shows up with this thought to be extinct, like signature animal, maybe even a sacred animal to Aimia, they'll be like, "Oh, hey, come talk to us.
Let us give you the secret lore." I was like, please, I would love that. I would love
the thought I had
lore.
is, so Lopen is probably going to be present. Maybe other Knights Radiant as well.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe a different Windrunner. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but so the back of the books, the little blurbs on the back of each book,
Yep.
right, is
Mhm.
written from the POV of the Sleepless.
Yep.
And they've obviously are very interested in the Knights Radiant.
They
They
are.
seem to have positive opinions of the Knights Radiant. I
Yep.
wonder if like the return of the Knights Radiant to them is going to be like, if they're going to be more accepting of Knights Radiant coming to Aimia.
That is a
than
good point,
just
because they
anybody
do
else.
constantly. They're like, yeah, that's true. It's
And
true.
it
Or-
seems like they were allies during the Desolations.
They were.
Yeah.
They
Yes.
may have been Radiance itself, but that has been a point of contention. I think that the back of the books make it clear that they did use surge binding, and so I think they could have bonded spread in some way. But they were allies. I mean, Aimia was the Silver Kingdom. Like, if they weren't happy with that situation, then that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. But I mean, like the fact that they were fighting with like alongside the Radiants during the last Desolation.
Yep. Many different types of blood.
And
And
also
there was
a
like
pile of Hordlings.
Oh yeah, that's
I mean,
right.
They could have been with Odium though, right? I don't think there's anything to indicate.
Well, that's
that they were
true.
necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there
well,
were humans fighting. There were humans fighting on Odium's side as well. We know that.
yeah,
right?
so that's
they could have
totally
been
possible.
Split.
Sure.
Yeah.
At least the ones that we currently hear about seem to be on our side.
Mhm. I think they're on the side of Roshar not being destroyed.
That sounds reasonable.
Oh man. The Sleepless are so cool, guys. Sleepless are
So
really cool.
I did do a quick search on the Larkin,
Mm-hmm.
and there is one word of Brandon from the Words of Radiance Seattle sighting, which is paraphrased,
Mhm.
where Ahoy Matey asks, "Are Larkin and Lancerin one and the same?"
This is
To
good.
which Brennan replies, "There's a little bit more than just being one and the same, but in some ways they are." And later on in 2019, there was an Orm signing where somebody asked, like, "Can a Larkin become a Lancerin?" Which Brennan raffled.
I think
So-
I think we're dealing with like Pokemon evolution thing. Like they suck in enough investiture and grow to a certain size, and then it's like, no, I'm a no.
I actually really like that their growth could be related to how much investiture they consume. I would be down with that.
Yeah.
As funny
Because
as you
we
explained
know-
that, that's solid.
Yeah, we know Great Shell's pupate, so like this could be a pre-pubation Lancerin is what
Yeah.
a Larkin is.
How fun would it be if
And-
Chiri like sucked up some more investiture and then like went into a cocoon, and then we're like, oh, what's gonna happen? And then like book 4 or 5, he like comes out.
Because Chiri does physically grow after feeding on the illusion that
Mhm.
the illumination fused head in Thalena.
Why?
City.
Okay, random thought. So that, she obviously Chiri has had like I don't know quite a good bit of time to like eat some investiture for the last several months or years or whatever.
Mhm.
It's interesting that she notes him growing significantly in that one moment. Maybe
It
it's just
might be-
because maybe it's the amount, but I wonder if it's void light. If it
Or
feeds
if
better
it's
off
like
void
a
light,
diversity of investiture.
or a
Like
diversity.
having only like one like food source like can only get you so far. Like you need
So
you
we just
need
need some void
Stormlight,
light.
you need Void Light, and you need Third Light.
You need breath. Just got to eat
You
all
need
that breath.
breath.
Easy.
Mm.
I'm reading the cover synopses, and I just love these things so much. But in the Way of Kings one, they're just like listing all the people that they're watching, right? And it's just the world can change. Surge binding and shard wielding. Love that word. Never seen that word again in the text. Can return. The magic of ancient days can become ours again. These 4 people are key.
Yeah.
This is so interesting.
Yeah.
Which that could be why Fabrials are from Aimia, is because Aimians couldn't become Knights Radiant, so they needed Fabrials.
Okay, yeah, sure. All right. But like, what magic of ancient days did they have? Because it says
Fabrials.
But wait, but they're saying the magic of ancient days can become ours again. If they still have the Fabrials there, right?
True.
Like,
Why new ones?
Okay.
Yeah, maybe they can't manufacture new ones anymore. Maybe they need like a Radiant to help them with that.
I want to see Aimians.
I mean, I
Radiants.
100% want them to have been Radiants in the past.
Okay.
I just thought of that, so I needed to share it.
Man, the Way of Kings one is the best. The other ones like actually talk about the plot of the books.
You know what's interesting about
read
these
that.
blurbs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Many things are.
Yes.
Notably, they smell like fortune to me. Because that's an awful lot of, hey,
Insight.
we are sensing that these people are important.
Oh, that's actually that's actually a really good point. That is an interesting point.
Like normally, if I see something like that in a fantasy book, I wouldn't give it much thought because it's like fantasy books are full of prophetic bullshit like that. But
prophetic bullshit is very specific in the Cosmere.
yes, yeah. And like knowing that this is an in-world artifact, like there has to be a mechanic that allows whoever is writing these things, or whoever, like multiple Sleepless are writing these things, to have access to this information. And the kind of vaguely prophetic, loose way that they are referring to the main characters, the assassin, the surgeon, the liar, it's very evocative of the way I imagine Fortune would. Because like Fortune is, I don't think Fortune is going to give you like names and dates and specifics like that. It will give you almost like vision-like themes,
Impressions.
and metaphors, and impressions and emotions for you to interpret.
Yeah. Well, and see, I had just thought that because it says there are 4 whom we watch.
Yep.
And I thought that was more mundane watching.
Well, I think it is, right?
They're everywhere. It's like they can get into places that the human spy never could.
Yeah.
And be ignored. So like, but I do like the idea of them supplementing that with Fortune
to help them find who they should spy on, maybe.
Yes.
And not only that, but like, as of the Way of Kings, if they are watching, I can buy that they are just watching a large number of people and they just kind of randomly stumble on, hey, these 4 look promising. Like they seem like they can be more than they are. But essentially hinging all of their hopes of acquiring whatever magic they've lost on just potential.
They could maybe sense Spren, right? They could maybe do that.
Yeah. Well, it's like they would know the signs of someone beginning.
Yeah, they would. They would know that. Yes.
So it's like they might just like have this vast network of hordlings, like just watching people, like trying to pick up on like, okay, let's like, this might be a Radiant. Like, let's send some more, like do more on screen, intense watching. It's like, okay, like, yes, we can see like they're definitely have a nascent and a hail bond. We will continue to watch them.
Yep. But like they're is still a part of them that seems vaguely fortune-ish, because it's like at the Way of Kings one, it's like one of them may redeem us and one of them will destroy us, right? Like, especially because like it seems like it's set like during the time of the book, right?
Yes.
So like that's that, sure, that could be supposition that they're like looking at Zeth and being like, wow, that guy's not doing, like, that is not gonna go well. And you know, they wouldn't be wrong, right? That's pretty solid. But like I could see some vague fortune-ish. And also I forgot this about the Oathbringer one, because I still haven't read this one as much, but it does say we may soon hold surges again, for radiance has returned to some and shines towards others. So what does holding surges mean for them?
Yeah, maybe they were squires.
And they're like, and the whole thing with the Oathbringer one, they're like, yo, Dalinar needs to not know the secret of the Recreants. So like that's what the back of that one is saying, basically. So they know that is bad news, which makes sense considering that they feel like the Knights Radiant turned against them in particular in the Way of Kings one. Maybe I should just briefly say, in case you're new, that the back of the Stormlight books, at least in the US editions, have like these snippets from mysterious people. Those people are Aimians. They're Sleepless, and they are bugs. You can read Edge Dancer to learn about them, and they do indeed watch people. And they've presumably been around for a long ass time. You know,
I was just looking at that scene in Edge Dancer where he talks to Arklow. He does outright say we were allies with the Radiants. In the past. I forgot he
doesn't say that they were Radiants, but they held surges at some point in some form, apparently.
I want to take us back to Dawnshards specifically.
Yeah, why don't we do that?
Yeah, we got kind of far afield.
Yeah, you know, what's up?
I mean, obviously Aimians are going to be very intrinsically tied to Dawnshards.
Yeah.
So that's fine. But I do want to talk about the Yasna notes section in The Way of Kings.
Yep. Okay.
Where the poem of Ista says, taking the Dawnshard known to bind any creature voidish or mortal.
Yep.
He crawled up the steps, crafted for heralds, then strides stole a piece towards the grand temple above. And two things, maybe two and a half things, are very notable to me here. One of them, obviously, the Dawnshard known to bind any creature voidish or mortal. And then also some grand temple on top of something.
It's Feverstone Keep.
Sure,
it's not Feverstone Keep.
Unless it is.
It could be.
There are different possible meanings for bind in this context. We could be looking at Dawnshards as essentially prisons for stuff. I feel like the idea that the Dawnshards are perfect gems, or maybe they are the perfect gems, or maybe they are specific perfect gems, has been brought up in the past. And so maybe in that context, you can bind a creature inside one of these, the same way you would imprison a spren or an inmate or whatever. But the other meaning of bind, which is more interesting to me, is more like bond,
forging a Nahal bond or something,
or some kind of like connection, some kind of a bond. And it's especially interesting that it is specified that it's any creature voidish or mortal. Which so it's super important to know the source of this thing, right? Because a human saying voidish creature might mean a different thing than a singer.
That's a good point. Saying
voidish creature. Now, this being said, the rest of the poem talks about heralds in a very like religious connotation. So I'm inclined to say that the author of this thing is human.
I agree, because the heralds.
I think it has to be human.
Yeah,
because anything written by the singers would have been in the Dawn chant, which they could not have translated.
That's a good. That's a great point.
I mean, unless you have like copies and translations and things like that.
But like, if they didn't have a copy of like the Eyeless Delay,
yeah, right, exactly.
Like
breaking that was so hard to do.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Either way, let's assume it was human.
Yeah. Good point to bring up, though, because Voidish is like, what does that mean?
And so Dawnshards could bind any creature Voidish, which, let's say, of Odium, maybe fused, maybe Void Spren.
Sure.
And then I feel like Mordo has to mean like either human or human and singer.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining the lamest Spren bond of Kaladin bonding like Tien. It's like, Dawnshards, you can do that. It's the crappiest not hell bond ever. I don't know. I don't think that's what that means. But
no, but I'm very interested in what it does mean.
Mm-hmm.
Or mortal. Unless it means that you could trap a mortal in a gem.
Yeah, and
like if we go that route.
We've speculated along that at some point in the past 10 years.
It's interesting that there's so many. Go ahead and finish your thought first.
I was going to say that I wonder, like, the word shard is sometimes frustrating.
Yes, it is. Very frustrating.
But I feel like it would be even more frustrating if there was a third meaning, right? So when we're talking about Dawnshards,
please no,
we're probably not talking about the Dawnshards of Adonalsium. That's probably not the context.
Yeah. Okay.
So we could be talking.
Was actually split into 17,
shards,
and the 17th one fractured into the Dawnshards.
The other shards we don't know about, those are the Dawnshards. Easy.
Just collectively. We could be talking about the Dawnshards in the same way we talk about shard blade and plate as shards.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe we are looking at something like some magical artifacts akin to the Honor Blades. And in fact, in another excerpt from The Way of Kings, Shallan references both the Dawnshards and the Honor Blades as like mythological treasures.
That are not the same. Important to know.
Dawnshards
are not Honor Blades.
Probably.
Probably.
But like, what if there was...
Well, they can't be.
And like, I wouldn't say this is accurate, but what if there was like honor plate, right? Or some other artifacts on the same power level as honor blades, or even more.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a shard of honor soul or something like that.
Yeah.
I have a even better hot take. Okay. Dawnshard. Well, I mean, if they were on Ashen, right? Like that's the thing that
they were.
I don't get, right? Like
probably.
I was gonna say
it's interesting that there's so many different like little interpretations. Like I read this passage and this makes sense for maybe what the Dawnshards could be, but then there's like another one over here that like makes sense and they're like incompatible with each other because like this whole like idea of binding some creature, voidish or mortal, but then at the same time we highly suspect that the Dawnshards were involved with the destruction of Ashen. So like it's hard for me to understand how my thing that can just bind things like that was responsible for the destruction of a planet is like that's a big step from one to the other.
that's true.
So it's frustrating that there's like so many like little ideas that work and then you try and like combine them into one big picture and it's hard to put it all the pieces together.
I was almost wondering, we really don't know the situation on Ashen with Odium and Honor, right? Or and cultivation, right? We have no clue the sequence, like the humans brought odium to Roshar, right? Whatever that means.
Yes.
So here's my idea. That's probably wrong. Maybe Dawnshards are like shards of odium's soul that they grabbed in Ashen. If like odium,
So the unmade.
In the same way that the other
well, I
blades
mean,
are.
yeah, yeah, like parts of Honor Soul. Yeah, I mean, you have a valid point there, Ian. You have a very valid point.
But then the unmade were like they were made and then unmade. So I mean, I guess he put a piece of himself into them. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know if odium was on Ashen with the humans. I know the humans came to Roshar, and that odium followed them.
Right, exactly.
I don't think odium came with them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Right, sure. Yeah,
It could have been. It could have been more that his attention followed them.
You're right, something like that. Yeah.
Or that he followed after them. It's like they came first, and then he showed up. It's like, hey guys,
how's it going?
You should. I am your god.
Targaryen here.
Ooh, I want to talk about like the new interlude. I feel like has some commentary on this, but maybe we don't want to go into that.
I would say we should not spoil that new thing that just came out. Because I think some people really do not want to read those things ahead of time. But you can look at our previous episode.
So I do have one more thing.
Go for it.
One more theory about the Dawnshards.
Okay.
Is that originally the Dawnshards were created by Adonalsium and given to the Ash Knights for whatever reason. And that like after like Adonalsium's death, like Adonalsium could no longer like temper the power of those Dawnshards, and so they destroyed their planet. And then they fled to Roshar, and Odium showed up, and Odium found these Dawnshards. It's like, ooh, you're interesting. I am going to make you mine, and unmade them into the unmade.
I've always been under the impression that the Ashenites moved to Ashen after the shattering.
I don't think we know.
I guess we don't.
And here's the thing that I'm thinking about, just like the prefix dawn on the things, right? It's often just like very early singer associated to me, right? Like Dawn Chant, Dawn Singer, Dawn Cities. I'm thinking that the Dawn Cities were presumably the ancient singer cities, right?
I don't think we know.
We don't.
I think it just means old.
It could. I agree. It's just interesting that those things are related to singers, but then these Dawnshards are on Ashen, and then they came to Roshar. Like it's there's a lot of weirdness, you know.
Well, so that is kind of my interpretation of it too. Is that dawn is just like some like more modern term for like these ancient things we don't understand. That said, Honor calls them the Dawnshards,
and
so the term is at least that old. It at least dates to back when they knew the truth of the past.
Yeah, Honor and the Stormfather.
Yeah, because like I doubt they were called Dawnshards on Ashen. Just like I don't think the singers refer to their language as the Dawnshan or the Dawn Cities.
I agree with that. Yes, I do solidly agree with that take.
Yeah, I think it's like post Aheritium like terminology for these ancient things. This is what humans are calling it, so that's what Honor called them. So like the humans knew what he was talking about to a certain extent.
Yeah, that's okay.
Sure. It's interesting. I'm so excited. I learning anything about the Dawnshard. It might be like a third thing that like we're like, I don't know how this fits together at all, but like it's really cool that we know it. Binding the things. How do you bind mortal things? That's just reminding me of how like Odium bonded with Amaram's forces at the end of Oathbringer, which is still super weird, by the way. Like, that is a really weird thing. It's like, you bond humans? That's weird. It's like, didn't you do that like a billion years ago? Not a billion, but thousands of years ago. But Fuse didn't seem to notice.
Well, no, apparently it's something new that he's figured out how to do.
Yeah. It's just like
with
the human
Amaram's
Voidbinders
army,
work.
it almost seemed like possession there.
Yeah.
It happens through
maybe
Nergal,
not
right?
possession. Maybe
Yes. Yeah, the
It
thrill was
happens through
required.
the thrill, right? So maybe it's just the fact that the thrill has like had 4.5 millennia to like be around humans, and now it like, I don't know, gets into them better than it used to.
Yeah, I guess.
maybe something like that. Because it's also similar to how singers change when they assume a form of power. Like, they don't become possessed, they don't become mind controlled,
Right.
but their psychology changes according to the
Sure.
to the form, because presumably Odium's investiture in the form of a void spren is like now integrated in their spirit web, right?
Yeah, sure. Right. Yeah. I just still.
And so we could be looking at a similar thing where like Odium gets essentially his tendrils in Amaram's soldiers. And can't mind control them, but like it's almost like the kind of mind control that emotional allomancy gives an allomancer over the Koloss
Yeah,
or
sure. Right.
the Conjurer.
Yeah. I just still don't like. Once we know what's going on with human Voidbringers and Voidbinders and crap, like, we will understand a lot more on this.
Yeah,
I don't understand right now.
So, like, we know that any amount of investiture does affect your personality.
Yep.
To an extent.
Yep.
So it could just be like, and it's like, what Odium did could not have worked on anyone. It is like those people were specifically not prepared, but like they're suited for what was done.
Like, maybe like some.
I mean, he says he's been
connection.
working on them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So they were prepared. So it's just like, so like that preparation got them to a point, like, and then like he injected some investiture, like, that kicked them over to some threshold that turned them, twisted their personality enough that they became the people who would do those things. If that makes sense.
Sure. Right. Again, I just don't know how this relates with all the voidish stuff, the human Voidbringers, like with the Dawnshards, voidish, binding voidish stuff or mortal stuff, and just like binding mortals, like that's kind of what that evokes. I kind of lost track why we were talking about this for a second.
Yeah, I was actually wondering that too.
But
no, it's binding is really weird, right? Because normally you would use binding as a like a restraining type of thing, not as forming a bond.
You know what's really interesting about that bonding voidish or mortal sentence? It's like we're interpreting voidish to kind of refer to like void spren, right?
Yeah.
But it's talking about
Odium.
mortals, but not talking about the standard spren. Isn't that weird? Like, you because like honor spren are not mortal, but they are not voidish. And so like that's
Correct.
just a really interesting thing that they're just not talking about the regular old true spren that we see. Isn't that weird?
So if it's humans, it could be specifically like, oh, we use these to fight the bad guys, whether
Sure.
they be magical voidish or whether they're just like plain old singers, right? So they're
Okay, sure.
excluding
Okay,
sure.
the good guys.
Yeah, okay. That's a
Because the
reasonable.
heralds would also not be voidish or mortal, and they're not
Yeah, sure.
really
Sure.
covered.
Yeah. That makes more sense
I like that interpretation.
than anything I've ever thought of.
I'm gonna throw another wrench in the whole
dear.
thing.
Great. Let's go. This would be a
Taking the
shorter episode,
Dawnshard.
guys.
We need rails.
No.
Taking the Dawnshard, known to bind any creature voidish or mortal. Not implied that all Dawnshards have this property.
Yeah.
Oh, taking that specific Dawn.
Yeah, I agree.
yeah.
I agree. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
The
like
adhesion Dawnshard.
it's the sure that's true though. But like, could the adhesion Dawnshard destroy Ashen? The Stormfather refers to Dawnshards plural, as we read.
Yep. And he does refer to them as weapons.
Yep.
Which is a little bit interesting because, like, if the Dawnshards were so, like, you wouldn't call the Shards of Adonalsium a weapon necessarily. They can certainly be used in that context, but you can do so much more with them.
Right. Correct.
And so, for is it the Stormfather or Honor? I think it's the Stormfather.
Both Honor and the Stormfather refer to plural Dawnshards.
Well, so the Stormfather calls them ancient weapons.
Sure. Right. Yes. Yes.
So that, I think, limits their abilities in breadth.
Yeah, they're definitely like more like honor blades than Shards of Adonalsium, right? Like, I definitely agree with that. You're not going to like pick up a Dawnshard and become the Dawnshard, right? Like that's not how that works, right?
No, I'm saying, like, you're not going to pick up a Dawnshard and like build a city, because you don't use weapons to build a city.
Technically, you can, because Yada was cut out of the ground using.
Yeah, it's like your shard blades can
Yes,
be used for things. So yes and no. Like, like if you imagine that like one of the Dawnshards like was able to vibrate like that somatically, right? Like it's like really good at like a certain vibration that could somehow coalesce a thing or break the shattered planes, right? Like I
wondered if the shattered planes were created with the destruction of a Dawnshard the other day.
Yeah,
like, I wondered if they were like just trying to destroy them, and one of like they did it wrong with one of them.
Yeah,
and it blew up.
There was
sucks to
a
be Stormseed.
signed book from like ages and ages and ages ago, where Brennan like wrote on the map with like an arrow to the shattered plains saying like great magic was released here.
Yeah, which totally makes sense.
Which, like, the destruction of a Dawnshard presumably would release a vast amount of investiture.
This was tied to my like thinking of like maybe they hid one and Honor knows they're destroyed, so like maybe one of them. I don't know. Yeah.
For some reason, I had the hot take earlier that I was like, maybe Honor died there, but like that doesn't make sense because Stormseed had to be destroyed prior to the records. Right? So it has to be. So it's in the wrong order.
I do really like the idea that the Dawnshards are tied to the surges in some way.
I'm the more I think about it, the more I like that idea that maybe there's like a Dawnshard per surge, and they like give you just insane control and power over that surge.
And that's why the Stormfather is relating it to surge binding.
Yeah. And so like that, so we know that Ashen obviously was destroyed, right? But part of that destruction was this apocalyptic, like molten rivers of lava, and gravity is now all weird there. All of these could be in line with like extreme use of gravitation, of division, of cohesion.
Yeah, right. I agree.
And so with all of so there is something I want to talk about that is in the Interlude that was part of the most recent newsletter. So Why don't we do like a big spoiler warning? Maybe we can go into WAB mode. And then just put a spoiler in there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. That
so
works.
People can just
sure.
People can mute the video.
That's a good idea.
Until that goes away.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about Rhythm of War spoiler. At least for the interlude that was discussed last week. So you'll be able to skip ahead. So let's blab about this, and then maybe we'll call it good for this episode.
Yeah.
All right. Lead us in with this.
Okay. So last we talked about if the Dawnshards are like the Honor-Blades, and the Honor-Blades grant surges, and or at least I'm exploring the idea that the Dawnshards grant surges in a similar way, or maybe they like supercharge surges.
Sure.
So Seal tells Dalinar, a bondsmith bound other surges and brought humans to Roshar, fleeing their dying world. Okay, so bound other surges being the interesting thing here.
Yeah.
So what if while the humans were still on Ashen, still in the Tranquiline Halls, the surges were kind of wild, untamed, unbound, like you could do essentially whatever you wanted with these powers, maybe limited only by like your own skill and your own mental fortitude and whatever. And the Dawnshards, which we know existed there, supercharged your abilities to the point where individuals could literally destroy the world, and they did. And so when the humans escaped or were escaping to Roshar, what if, assuming this bondsmith that Sil talks about is Ishar, what if Ishar bound the surges in some way to like essentially handicap them? Maybe like he bound them in the Honor Blades, which is an idea that I've seen in some way. And so like as long as the Honor Blades exist, they like limit Cool.
Oh, just Ian was shaking his head. It was really funny.
Yeah, I know. It was just mildly distracting, and so I couldn't finish my thought.
Oh, sorry.
I stopped, and then you continued not to speak.
So what if the creation of the Honor Blades interfered or like was instrumental in that in some way?
What if? So I'm like there with you for a lot of it. I don't think this bondsmith, presumably Ishar, right? Like what other bondsmith would be around that time, pre all that crap, right?
Unless we get them like out of left field.
Who knows what the magic on Ashen was like? But what if Ishar made the Dawnshards? I think that's a lot more
would make more sense.
And like
to me.
Like binding the surges, like the result of that was the Dawnshards in some way.
Oh.
Right? Because I think the Honor Blades came from Honor, right?
Yes, 100% Honor Blades came from Honor.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah. And so the surges were wild and uncapped and unlimited, and so things were bad, and so Ishar was like, okay, no, hold up. We'll put these surges in boxes. And so only the person with the box can wreak havoc. And then the people with the boxes wreaked havoc.
Don't open the box,
which would be in line with, you know, using the Dawnshards to destroy Ashen.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense to me.
Bondsmith bound other surges. Like,
I don't even know what that means.
We could literally. I know we did this literally last week with Grace, Danielle, and Marvin, but we could do like an episode every week until Rhythm of War came out and be like, what is this paragraph? Just have different people. It's like, David, what do you think of this paragraph? This is the entire show.
And I'm just so bothered by the fact that it's other surges.
It is weird.
Like,
Yeah.
Maybe
Like presumably that means he used one surge to bind the other.
what? Oh,
I mean, that maybe.
I have a hot take. It's a stupid hot take. What if he bonded the void surges on the void binding chart?
Oh.
Because nothing says, this conversation of Dawnshards needs void binding in it.
Yikes!
You know this thing we don't know anything about. What if we?
Let's mix in
toss
Truthless
the other
too.
thing we don't. Well, no, that wouldn't work because presumably they are the same surges. They just express differently.
Maybe,
Gravitation,
maybe,
gravitation.
presumably. They look different on the chart, so I don't know.
The glyphs are the same.
They're slightly different.
They're
Not
they're
the big
twi-
ones.
void surges?
The surge winds are. It's the same.
Oh, yeah.
It's got rotational symmetry instead of
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
lateral
both, yeah.
symmetry.
Yeah, see, they're different.
Mhm.
And you know what else is round? Ashen. Of course, nailed it.
But I mean, unless we have more thoughts on this, we can probably exit the spoiler
Yeah, like
area.
I think that point is really good, and I do like the idea that maybe like this bondsmith, presumably a Shar, made Dawnshards or something.
What if the transformation Dawnshard is an Aimia?
Transformation. Why?
Because that's where
Because
Soulcasters came from.
Soulcasters.
Oh, sure. Okay.
That they somehow like reverse engineered the transformation Dawnshard into Soulcasters.
Or
Or-
maybe used it to create Soulcasters.
So it's not a thing that allows you to use the surge. It's a thing that allows you to like make other things use the surge.
Well, I think it could do both.
Possibly.
Or both.
It could be, yeah, it could be both.
Why not? both?
Or
Why not both?
or maybe you have to be able to use the surge to begin with, and then once you have access to the Dawnshard, it's like getting an access to a shard. Like the things you can do with the power become so much more.
It almost feels like let's exit the spoiler section because we're rambling, but it just reminds me almost of the Bands of Mourning in a sense. Like you get these powers, but it's ultra like super powerful version of those abilities in a sense. I don't think like you can like, well, maybe you could like expend the Dawnshard. I don't know. We don't know. But it just reminds me that like, hey, using the bands, it was all the powers and it was super awesome. And maybe like the Dawnshard just lets you super powerful transformation sequence.
Possibly.
This is mind-boggling just to think about.
Look, you know what we need? You know, listeners, you know what we need? We need to read this novella because what the hell is like, we have no idea. We're just like, hey, you know that thing that's mentioned like 3 times? Yeah, let's talk for over an hour about it. Let's go. Let's get back on rails. Do you have any final thoughts on Dawnshard, the novella?
We didn't talk much about Risen, and there's not much to say about her.
Look, you expected lore with this title.
I'm
Like,
excited
you got lore.
to. I'm excited to see. I don't know. I'm excited to see her again. She's a fun character.
I am very interested to see how that will progress with her disability and stuff.
She's got a ship. Maybe she sails her ship like into the underground caverns. Like they're big enough.
Yeah.
to, like,
We didn't
sail
even
a
talk
ship
about the
into.
underground caverns in Aimia.
The undersea cavern.
Undersea.
sorry.
I'm sorry. Oh well.
The undersea caverns of Adium. Aimia, not Adium. Look, there are caverns there too. But
Risen
it's
is going to
interesting to
invent the submarine and explore
sure.
the undersea
Sure.
caverns.
yeah,
They turned Wandersail into a submarine
sure.
in the last year.
And that's where the Dawnshard
Gabrielle.
is. In the caverns.
And she's gonna find that Will Shaper who went there.
Yeah, he's been there this whole time.
I technically I think that is true because I think they're going to find bones.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I am excited to see more Rissyn. I definitely think we should probably do an episode on like Rissyn, but we kind of have a narrow time frame of the release of this novella and till Rhythm of War, and
It'll be more fun to talk about it when we have the book to see what develops further.
Are you saying we shouldn't do random speculation on a character like we did on this entire show? That's next week's episode where we just speculate about Rissyn the entire time. No, we're not going to do that. Evgeni, any final thoughts?
Obviously, looking forward to getting all the juicy stuff and see whether we cracked what Dawnshards are.
Look, we put so much on the dartboard. What something could probably be right. It's like they're super surges. Sure, whatever.
After it's released, we totally got this theory correct.
It was definitely one of the theories.
Because you guessed literally every possible theory.
They're super surges who became unmade. Easy. They were made by,
I am throwing my hat in the ring and saying it's not going to be unmade. It will be this thing that we talked about in the spoiler period.
But Daigonarthus could be the villain. He could be there.
Yeah, I was just not thinking about that because that's the fifth thing we don't know anything about.
Isn't
I will just
Daigonarthus
say
the Black
I would
Pusher?
like it to be. What?
Yeah. Daigonarthus, the one thing we know. Let me hurt. Let me no longer hurt. Let me no longer weep. Daigonarthus, the Black Fisher, holds my sorrow and consumes it. There we go. He's a fisher. Oh! And he fishes in the undersea caverns of Aimia. Done.
Yikes.
My last comment will be, I don't know if unmade Dawnshards are actually going to be happen, but I would be happy if they did. So I am not staking anything on it, but I will claim credit if they do.
The novella doesn't need rails because it's on a boat.
Yeah, it's true.
That's a science fact.
It's how boats work.
It's true. I'm super excited for Dawnshard. I cannot wait to do an episode on that when that comes out. So that will be really, really, really exciting. I hope you are too. Hopefully this was interesting. I don't know. It was certainly an episode. And let's go on and do Who's That Cosmere Character?
This character is from Roshar.
Menace.
Tien. Tom.
Braze.
Hoyd in drag on a horse.
It's time for Who's That Cosmere Character? Caw.
Cheery.
You know, this episode wasn't quite as bonusy as I thought it would be.
No.
In retrospect. Maybe we should re-record the intro. Feather will love that.
No, I think you should make a comment on the outro. Saying like,
okay, yeah, sure, that's good. Yeah,
that's funnier.
Thanks for watching Shardcast.
Definitely not.
Definitely not a bonus cast.
Yeah.
Feather, you should do something. Put something on screen during the intro making fun of Eric.
Lol.
For calling it a bonus cast.
Just like put the overall length of the episode, lol. An episode this long isn't a bonus. Easy. All right. Welcome to Who's That Cosmere Character, the game where you send in 5 clues in a character to wtcc at 17shard.com, and these guys will need to guess who's that Cosmere character. So, let's go. So, this one is sent by Parker Eggleston, and they say, that they really like the episodes and mentioned that in the more spiritual mumbo jumbo episodes, I have to do independent research to know what you're talking about. This.
On the copper mine, hopefully.
Yes.
That's yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're trying to do better to actually explain things. So, all right. So, clue 1. This character wears a funny hat.
Vistim.
No, it's not Vistim.
Oh, wait a minute.
The email also says "Have fun off the rails." We did. Thanks. We did do that.
Barely even touched the rails this episode.
No, there were no rails to begin with.
No, we were like, oh, rails? Nope.
I'm going to say odium because technically a crown could be a funny hat.
What is a hat? No, it's not Odio.
Oh gosh.
Sil.
Cognitive aspect of Odium's hat.
Is it Sil?
It is Sil.
No.
We may have. Is one of the clues this character has siblings?
No.
Okay.
No,
because we've had
we have.
previous
Yeah.
Cosmere character.
Yeah. Sil wears a hat in the Shadesmar sequence, I think, in Celebrant.
Right.
I think.
Okay.
In Celebrant, yep.
And the other clues are this character changes their appearance often. This character is defying their parent. This character is not human. This character died for a bit, but she's fine now.
She got better.
She got better. All right. Woo. This is dangerous that the answer was at the top of this email. That's always super dangerous. I was like, this one's sent in by, wait, that's the character's name. All right, this one was sent in by Hakadon. I probably didn't pronounce that right at all. That's fine. Clue 1. This character was a father.
Was a father?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna read these as is, but some have is and some are past tense and some are present tense. So I don't know. I wouldn't look into that very much.
King Iadon.
No, it is not King Iadon.
I was actually going to guess the same one.
There you go.
King Evanteo.
There we go.
No, it is not King Avanteo.
I am going to guess William Montaigne,
No,
who is Silence's dead husband.
it is
We don't know anything about
not that person. Clue 2. All right, I'm just gonna read it as is. He was pierced with metal.
Spook.
No. I guess he did have a lot of children.
He had a lot of
That's
kids.
true. A lot. I was like, wait, he wasn't a father. Oh, yes, he was. He was.
Oh, yes, he
Many.
was.
That's misleading. It's definitely not Mistborn.
Yeah, I'm not falling for the Mistborn bait. No.
I couldn't help but.
But what
pick
if it
Spook,
is?
But
I think Spook's a good guess.
Is it the survival?
Tanalan Senior.
It is not Tanalan Senior. What's up, Ian?
Is it the survivorist priest that was supposed to marry Wax and Steris?
No, I like that.
I think he died by being pierced by metal.
Was he the one who died in Shadows of Self?
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, he was the one Palm murdered. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because like the clue was like you're gonna kill your father. They thought it was Steris'
Yeah,
actual
yeah.
father.
Right,
but-
right.
Yeah. Clever.
But it was a priestly father type of thing.
Mhm.
All right. Clue 3. He was a nobleman.
Benrod.
No.
Draft?
Wait, who?
Straff.
Oh, it just sounded like a D, and I was like, wait, what? Who's Draff? Straff Venture? Yes, no, it's not him.
Okay.
It almost sounded
He
like
was
Giraffe.
sliced by metal.
Yeah, you know.
he was less pierced.
What does it mean to be pierced, really? It's like, if you're chopped in half, are you pierced with metal? I mean, it's probably
I guess
metal
technically
shavings.
those are different damage types in D&D.
Yeah,
and that's
you know.
definitely
Yeah.
slashing damage.
That's slashing damage.
Although, if you are getting sliced in half, there is probably a brief moment during which Ruin can talk to you.
Well, if it's in the right spot, it has to be in the right
Yeah,
spot.
it has to hit a bind point, I think.
Yeah. That's kind of the
How that
problem.
works.
Yeah. So I would say no.
It said nobleman.
It said he was a nobleman.
Father nobleman pierced by metal.
Still afraid of going Mistborn.
Yeah, that's a bait. I gave in briefly with the Penrod guess.
Dalinar.
It's not Dalinar. Clue 4. He is from Cell.
Ha.
I found your initial guesses very amusing given this clue.
Yeah, we
How'd
were
you
so
go
on
right
the
to
right track.
Cell? How'd you even do that? That's some fortune or connection crap right there.
Dang, I don't know their names well enough.
Unco Kayain.
No. I'll accept a detailed description, Joff. I'm a kind and generous host of this show.
Pierced by metal. And was a father.
And was a nobleman. Is it Raoden?
It's not Raiden.
Did he have kids? Does Hope of Elantris?
She's
mention that having children?
she's pregnant during
Mm,
Hope of
yeah.
Elantris.
He's gonna have kids.
yeah.
He will have had kids at some point.
God.
Did
In the timeline
all
of
three
the
of you
Cosmere.
guess?
No, I didn't guess.
Okay.
There can't be very many options. I'm just terrible at remembering all her whole like posse's names.
I can give you one if you want to split a point.
It's the I can't like even think how to describe him well enough to. I want to guess the there's two guys that are like always like they're like rivals with each other, and one of them betrays the other.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like struggling to remember more details.
I
than
don't
that. And I
think
read
that
Elantris, like,
description would
few months ago.
it suffices, I'm afraid, because
So-
that's two different people.
yeah,
Yes.
I'll help you guys out. Well, it's
I mean, yeah.
no, go ahead.
One.
Maybe I'll think of it.
Mhm.
No.
I can give you the name of one of them because I don't remember the other one.
I know both of them.
Yeah, I bet you do. Let me guess. This might not even be either of them. Ahane.
It is not Ahane.
That is one of them.
Pronunciation. It is
Mhm.
one of them. Yes, that's true. Clue
Dang it.
5. He has a purple birthmark on his face.
Telrai?
Yes, it is.
That's the other one.
Yep.
I
No.
was gonna guess Ryle.
No, the other one was Royal.
Oh,
Yeah, it wasn't
so it's
Telri.
I can never remember. any of the- like-
Ahane and Ryle were the.
Mhm.
Yeah. And okay. And he betrayed him, and then he was shocked when Ryle got killed.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah. But
Which
it
is the one I was
is
gonna guess.
Duke Telri. I'm not going to do Aeonic pronunciation. Brandon's not either. So there. But he was the jerk who goes with Hrathen and becomes king very briefly.
Mhm.
Yeah, at the end of Elantris.
Converts to
King.
Shudareth.
I
Yeah,
couldn't remember if he had children or not.
he actually does. Sheor,
Mhm.
one of the gang leaders, the female one.
Oh, that was his son.
Mhm.
Sorry.
Well, her.
Her.
I read
Yeah,
Elantris
sure.
like
I remember.
like a few
Is
months ago, earlier this year.
the crazy girl kid.
Mhm.
That's her. Cool. Yeah, that's I to be honest, I kind of forgot that he was a father too. I was like, I gotta check that one. Was like, yeah, that's what it is. All right, folks. this was not quite as much of a bonusy thing as I thought, but we didn't need to prepare for
Spending time with you is always a bonus.
Aw, you're sweet. Spending time with you listeners, even though it's a very one-sided relationship with you, is also really great. And you know how you can spend more time with us? Follow us on 17shard.com for all your news, discussion, theories, and fun that you could ever want. You can join us on Discord, say hi to us. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, YouTube. You can leave us a review on iTunes if you like our stuff. Support us on Patreon. Next week, I think we're gonna do our second Dark One episode. We recorded it a while ago, but hasn't gone out because stuff kept happening. How
Stupid,
inconsiderate.
Stupid Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So my hair will spontaneously get a lot longer.
Yeah. Look, in the spiritual realm, the hair is all the same length.
The perfect length.
The perfect length.
That was not the perfect length.
I think most of us have probably too much hair in the current days. And so that's what we'll do next. And I think we'll probably do Way of Kings Prime sometime in August. I should probably start reading that, huh?
I should also start reading that.
Yeah, we should probably do that.
Yeah, maybe I'll read that instead of whatever it is I'm reading right now.
Yeah, we should do that because it's like 800 pages long.
Oh my god.
It's like 3/4 of a Stormlight book. Only worse.
That's
the prose
very sad
definitely
to say.
seemed like Mistborny level prose. Like from the bits I read, it wasn't as awful as I thought it was going to be.
Okay, well that's good.
At least like the prose itself. Can't comment on the story yet.
People seem to be enjoying it. I've seen a lot of people enjoying talking about it.
Yeah, I think the disaster zone is that there's just 6 main characters. Like that probably didn't go super great. But so we'll do an episode on that because that is a crazy balls version of Roshar that is not canonical. So we'll do that pretty soon. So we will see you all next time.
Bye.
Don't join us if you want rails.
Yeah, we just get on the Wander sail and just head off in whatever direction we want.
The Wander Rail.
The Wander
Rail. Oh, jeez.
It's because we wander away from
the rail.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Our shadow goes away from rails rather than towards rails.
That is true.
Eric, just end us.
Bye. Call.
Wander rail.
206. I'm so sorry, Feather. Oh man, biggest lie of the century that I told Feather. It should be shorter. It'll be a shorter bonus cast.
It's okay, we got a little derailed.
She charges per minute.